everyone has their secrets. But what if I told you that several golden age Hollywood stars led double lives? What if I told you they had some dark secrets they hid from the public, and it will leave you in shock and awe? From being involved with mobs to enjoying strange acts, here are some secrets of old Hollywood stars that prove that there is usually more to fame than meets the eye. Joan Crawford was an abuser. It was up close and personal. She came this far from my face, and you could see it in her eyes. You can see if someone is trying to kill you. These were the words that Christina, Joan Crawford's daughter, uttered as she described the horrific experiences she went through in the hands of the famous Joan Crawford. The revelations made in her memoir titled Mommy Dearest, which was released in 1978, painted a picture of a cruel and twisted woman. This was the exact opposite of who the world knew Joan Crawford to be. The memoir left people wondering if her claims were true or false. Christina truly shocked the world with her allegations of abuse and dysfunction within the household of Hollywood icon Joan Crawford. One of the most shocking revelations in the book was the portrayal of Joan Crawford as a physically and emotionally abusive mother. Christina Crawford described instances of her mother's violent outbursts, including beating her with a wire hanger and locking her in a closet for hours as punishment. These accounts of severe physical abuse left many readers horrified and challenged the glamorous image of Joan Crawford that had been cultivated by Hollywood. Additionally, Christina Crawford claimed that her mother struggled with alcoholism, which further contributed to the volatile atmosphere in their home. She described Joan Crawford as often being intoxicated and emotionally unavailable, leaving her children to fend for themselves and endure her unpredictable behavior. The detailed nature of Christina Crawford's accounts, coupled with the fact that she was Joan Crawford's adopted daughter, lent credibility to her allegations in the eyes of many readers. Despite denials from Joan Crawford's other children and some members of the entertainment industry, the vivid portrayal of abuse and dysfunction in Mommy Dearest was difficult for the public to dismiss entirely. Tippi Hedren had a wild pet. You might recognize Tippi Hedren from some movies, but did you know she had a lion living with her? Yes, you heard that right. Not just any lion, but a massive 400-pound male lion named Neil. Now, you might wonder, why would someone want to live with a lion? Well, Tippi was passionate about saving big cats. She'd been working hard for years, winning awards left and right for her efforts. So, having Neil around was like living with a real-life symbol of her dedication. Picture this. Tippi's house was like any other cozy Hollywood home, but with a wild twist. Neil, a 400-pound lion, would strut through the living room like he owned the place, often surprising guests with his majestic presence. Can you imagine sitting down for tea and suddenly there's a lion casually strolling by? But wait, it gets even wilder. Tippi's daughter, Melanie Griffith, was living with her at the time. Sometimes, she'd let Neil the lion bunk with her when they had visitors. Imagine sleeping under the same roof as a lion. It must have been both thrilling and nerve-wracking. As you can imagine, living with a lion wasn't all rainbows and sunshine. There were some wild moments, quite literally. In the end, a lion is a wild animal who eats human flesh. As such, each member of the family had a run-in with the lions, and Griffith even had to undergo facial surgery after a particularly bad encounter. Let's just say it's one thing to love animals, but it's another thing to share your home with a 400-pound feline. Loretta Young and her secret daughter. It was said that during the filming of The Call of the Wild, Loretta Young and Gable got sexually involved with each other on a train ride. However, there are rumors that it wasn't consensual. Young later became pregnant as a result of their romantic involvement. Loretta Young was known for her squeaky clean public image and was a strict Catholic. If the world knew that she was sexually involved with a married man, it would ruin her career. Faced with the potential ruin of her career and the scandal it would bring, Young decided to hide the parentage of her child. Young retreated from the public eye and secretly gave birth to a daughter, Judy, on November 6, 1935. To protect Gable's reputation and maintain her own image as a virtuous starlet, Young decided to pass Judy off as her adopted daughter rather than revealing the truth about her parentage. The ruse was meticulously orchestrated. Young returned to work after a brief hiatus, and Judy was introduced to the public as her adopted child. It was said that Young even went so far as to stage a fake adoption ceremony to solidify the illusion. Judy was raised believing that Young was her adoptive mother, unaware of the truth. It wasn't until she was an adult that Judy discovered the truth about her biological parents, and it came as a profound shock. The secret was closely guarded for decades, but eventually it came to light, causing a sensation in Hollywood and among fans. Judy herself later wrote about her experiences in her memoir, Uncommon Knowledge, detailing the emotional journey of discovering her true identity and coming to terms with the complexities of her family history. Which of these secrets surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments and hit the subscribe button for more videos like this. Cary Grant and his strange coping mechanism. Although most people knew him as a phenomenal actor who was the very embodiment of a gentleman, there was a secret practice that kept him sane behind closed doors. He was the epitome of charm and grace on the silver screen. But what most people didn't know was that he was grappling with some deep, painful stuff from his past. You see, Cary had a rough start in life. Born into a poor family in Bristol, England, his dad wasn't exactly faithful, and his mom vanished mysteriously when his dad had her sent to a mental hospital and lied to Cary that his mother had died. Cary Grant carried these scars with him into adulthood, and they haunted him throughout his career in films. But then something unexpected happened. At the peak of his fame, Cary Grant did something wild. He turned to LSD therapy for help. Yeah, LSD, the stuff that's often associated with hippies and trippy experiences. Cary dove headfirst into this unconventional treatment, and he swore it saved him. Between 1958 and 1961, Cary reportedly dropped acid over 100 times. That's a lot of trips. And during these sessions, he claimed to have these mind-blowing revelations about himself and life. He became so passionate about LSD that he started preaching about it to anyone who'd listen, saying it was the key to finding inner peace. It's like Cary went on this wild journey to uncover the real him, stripping away all the Hollywood glamour and fame to get to the core of his being. He tried everything: hypnosis, yoga, but it was LSD that really opened his eyes. He would recount his experiences, saying, "During my LSD sessions, I would learn a great deal, and the result was a rebirth. I finally got where I wanted to go." In the end, Cary Grant's adventures in psychedelia were about self-discovery, about facing his demons and finding peace within himself. Frank Sinatra and his mob affiliations. Frank Sinatra was a man whose voice could make the world swoon, but Frank wasn't just a crooner. He was a man with connections, some of which raised more than a few eyebrows. Over the years, there have been rumors about Frank Sinatra, but perhaps one of the most persistent back in the 1940s was the rumor that swirled that he had dodged the draft, paying a hefty sum of $40,000 to a doctor to declare him unfit for service. Frank Sinatra was also suspected to have had affiliations with mobsters. Frank was a man of many interests, and he wasn't shy about who he hung out with. In fact, he seemed to revel in the company of those with, let's say, colorful backgrounds. Mobsters, you see, were his comrades in arms, sharing his love for the finer things in life: gambling, women, and cold, hard cash. They'd rub shoulders in smoky casinos and swanky nightclubs, captured for eternity in photographs that raised more questions than answers. Now, Frank always insisted he was no friend of the mob. But the evidence painted a different picture. He was tight with the likes of Sam Giancana, a big shot in the Chicago underworld. They were more than just acquaintances, they were pals. Yet, even in the midst of these dubious connections, Frank made a surprising move. In a twist that could have come straight from a movie, he offered to spill the beans on his shady associates, offering himself up as an informant to none other than J. Edgar Hoover himself. But the FBI wasn't biting. They wanted nothing to do with him, marking him as untouchable. Even as whispers of his ties to organized crime grew louder. Despite all this, Frank managed to evade the long arm of the law. He never faced charges for his questionable friendships or his rumored dalliances with the mob. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and watch out for our next video.